So today we'll be learning how to fertilize a peace lily or a Spathiphyllum. I'm going to be going over some basics and some science behind fertilizing. So if you have seen my other fertilization videos, you can skip ahead because I am going over the same things. So just some quick basics. Only fertilize healthy plants. If you fertilize a plant that is not healthy, it can actually stress it out and harm it. So avoid doing that. Secondly, spring is generally the best time to fertilize. Just due to the increased sunshine hours of the day, a plant will usually go into increased growth, and that is a good sign that you should be fertilizing your plant is when it's in an active growing stage. Next, and kind of in line with our other tip, plants in shade have slower metabolism. So if your plant is in a shady spot, generally is not growing as much and therefore will not need as much fertilizer as a plant would if it were in full sunshine or by a bright window. And lastly, very simple, less is more, especially with fertilizing. If you're scared of hurting your plant or burning it with fertilizer, always be more conservative with how much fertilizer you add. So for a peace lily, I'm using Schultz plant food. I'm pointing to these three numbers because I'm going to be going over what they mean real quick. They are the percentage of active ingredients of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in that order within your fertilizer. So just as a quick overview of what each of those three ingredients do, first off is nitrogen. It's a major component of chlorophyll. It allows the plant to absorb energy, and it kind of controls the overall greenness of a plant. So if your plant greens up, it's usually due to nitrogen. Next is phosphorus, and it helps the roots, buds, and flowers. Helps overall cell division and tissue production. So for our peace lily, which is a flowering plant, phosphorus is particularly important for it. And lastly is potassium, which helps the vigor of a plant by catalyzing its enzymes, and it also is responsible for regulating the stomatas, which are the little pores on your plant's leaves that help it exchange gases. Alright, so to get into actual fertilizing now, I'm simply washing out my fertilizing bucket that I'll be filling with the fertilizer and the water just to avoid any contamination. I'm filling up with quite a bit of water just because I'm fertilizing multiple plants. So just be sure on this part to add enough water in accordance with what it says on the back of your box or fertilizing can, so that you're not adding too much water or too little. So now you're ready to add the fertilizer to the water. I add the designated amount of drops it suggests on the back of the box. Just be sure to give it a good stir, whether it is a liquid dropper or a powder, just so it mixes thoroughly with the water. And if you're worried about adding too much, like I said earlier, just be conservative. It can never hurt. Alright, so now we're finally ready to actually add the fertilizer to your plant. Just make sure to get all around it, thoroughly soak the soil. A good sign that you have done so and soaked it and reached all the roots is that water will start to come out the bottom of your pot. For peace lilies in particular, I do recommend fertilizing once a week, spring through summer if you can. And I do recommend using a 10-10-10 fertilizer. I know the one I'm using is a 10-15-10, but it's close enough. It's the one I could find, and it shouldn't do any harm to the plant. But this will allow for just the fertilizer to work to its maximum capacity for your peace lily. And there you have it. That's how you properly fertilize your peace lily. I hope it goes well for you, and I hope your peace lily thanks you and has some new growth, maybe some new flowers. Comment, let me know how it went, and as always, I always appreciate if you subscribe and like the video.